This video is for backers of Dreaming Pipes who signed up for a copy or 2 copies of the Chanter. The Chanter that the project is focused on. I've got a copy of it here. I'm going to demonstrate the scale, and I'm going to demonstrate the fingering as well. When we get to the fingering, I'll show some close-ups of the fingering so that you can see how it works. That's the basic scale of the Chanter. It runs from D up to B, D below the stave up to B above, although being Smallpipes it's actually sounding an octave lower than that. The Chanter also plays semitones, and I'll demonstrate those now. When I play the basic scale with the semitones, you'll see that the Chanter is more or less chromatic. Not all the semitones are accurate yet, but it's more or less chromatic from low A up to high B. So here goes. There we go. In addition to playing the basic scale from D to B and the semitones mostly within the traditional 9-note range, the Chanter also plays its way up to at least to D and with a little bit of persuasion onwards to E and F sharp in the second register. These notes haven't been tempered properly yet. There's work to be done on the Chanter. There's also work to be done on the reed, which is going to be, I'm going to be looking at the reed in more detail over the next year or so. But just for the record, here's a demonstration of the high end of the range. As you can hear, high C sharp and high D are closer than high E and high F sharp are at the moment. They are pretty much usable. High E and F sharp not so much. They're a bit sour. High C sharp and high D are fairly easy to use. I'll demonstrate the fingering in a wee moment, but just to demonstrate the ease of use. So if you can forgive the tuning of those notes at the moment, it's not perfect. We're going to be doing work on that, but at the moment they're there. They're easy to use, such as they are. High E and high F sharp are not so easy to use, and they're also not really a usable condition at the moment, but we're working on that. So I'm now going to demonstrate the fingering of the chanter. The notes of the standard scale are fingered in the same way as on a standard Smallpipes chanter. The low notes, the lower range, are fingered using the right hand thumb and the left hand pinky. There's a hole, you'll see, for the left hand pinky, and there are 2 holes for the right hand thumb. Now remember that when the bow reaches low A, it's doubling back. So the holes are covered in the reverse order to the holes in the front. So it's the largest thumb hole first. That's the low G hole. When you cover that, you'll get F sharp. Then the small thumb hole, along with the large thumb hole, gives you E. Cover both of those and you get E. And then you cover the pinky hole, and that should bring the note to the end of the bore, which is D. You'll notice that the end of the chanter bore is just underneath your left hand thumb. It's slightly curved. That's intentional. It might make your high A gracings a little more tricky at first, but you'll get used to it hopefully. And the advantage of having it there, although it might be a little bit in the way, is that you can easily cover both high A and the end of the bore. And I'll show you what that does in a minute. It allows you to play staccato. I haven't fully mastered that yet, I have to admit, but it's the facilities there to stop the chanter and to play staccato. A note before I show you a bit of staccato playing. The smaller hole, the smaller thumb hole, which produces F sharp, is more sensitive to variation in the reed than most of the other notes on the chanter. If you find the F sharp sounding flat, then it means that your reed bridle is probably too open, or your reed cavity is probably slightly too large, the sound box of the reed. Don't go daft, but give it a gentle pinch just above the bridle, just as you would to ease the reed, and see if you can just over time. Don't try and do it all at once, but over time, see if you can train the reed. F sharp will come in, but F sharp and the semitones, which I'll show you in a minute, which I'm going to call the flea hole notes because they're produced using a flea hole. The semitones and F sharp are the canary in the coal mine. If your reed is a little bit too hard, they will go flat. The semitones, B flat, C natural, E flat and F will be flatter than they should be, and also your back F sharp, your small thumb hole, that note will be flat if your reed is a little bit too open. The staccato playing I'll show you just now. As I say, I'm still getting used to playing like that myself. I can see that it's going to be a great feature to have. When I'm playing staccato at the moment, I'm using a kind of a half-covered fingering, sort of like a cross between standard Scottish pipes fingering and the Irish pipes fingering. I'll show you that just now. It's, as I say, still working on it, so you might develop your own variant on it. So the fingering is all covered. Pinky off for E. Pinky and small thumb hole for F sharp. Thumb off for G. Just the right hand pinky for A. Just the third finger for D. Just the middle finger for C. 2 fingers for D. just one finger for E, 2 fingers for F, 3 fingers or 2, doesn't matter, for G, and for B, for A, 3 fingers off, 2 fingers on the thumb. So that's a kind of a prototype closed fingering for playing the chanter closed. Obviously you'll switch back and forth between those two styles when you're using staccato, and you'll probably develop your own way of working it all together. The semitones are the only other thing I need to... Actually no, the semitones and the high notes are the other things I need to speak about. The semitones are produced using a variation on the idea of a flea hole. Flea hole is a common feature of Hungarian pipes and Bulgarian pipes and other, I think there are maybe other pipes that use it too, but I'm aware of those two. I discovered it when I started learning to play the duda, and the flea hole I've adapted to the small pipes as a double hole for high G. Normally a flea hole is just a single very small hole situated a lot higher up, closer to the reed than high G would normally be. But in this case I've got a very narrow angled hole, and I've also got a small standard hole. The narrow angled hole, which is just a little pinhole, is your flea hole. If that is uncovered, but the other hole is covered, the other G hole is covered, on any note below it, then you should raise the pitch by a semitone if the reed's set right. You have to slide your finger, unless you want to use a high G grace note to mark the change. You just slide your finger down to uncover the flea hole and slide it up again to cover it. You'll find that the flea hole has a dual function. On A, B, C as well, although it's not much use there. On A, on B, on D and on E, it produces a semitone. So on A it raises it to B flat, on B it raises it to C, on D it raises it to E flat, and on E it raises it to F natural. It would be nice to be able to raise G to G sharp at the bottom of the scale, but it won't do that at the moment. On G and on every note below that, the flea hole actually functions as a register hole. And I'll go into that in more detail in a little minute. But apart from those 4 flea hole semitones, you can also get G sharp, which is a fork fingering on high A. Different chanters I've noticed out of the set of chanters I've sent out use slightly different fingerings for G sharp. Now, going on up to the higher notes, to get B natural, you just remove that pinky. So you've got every finger on, and the back thumb, the right hand thumb is on. You just remove the thumb and pinky of the left hand, and that gives you high B. To move on up to high C sharp and high D, you actually replace the back thumb and you open the flea hole. You can get high C sharp and high D keeping the back thumb off instead, but they tend to be quite flat. So to get a better tuned high C sharp and high D, you replace the back thumb and you actually open the flea hole, and that takes you up to high C sharp, high D, and on up to high E and high F sharp, although as I say they're not really in tune. So that should give you a rough idea of how to find the fingerings for all the different notes. I'm going to send you some documentation as well, which should make it a little bit clearer, but hopefully that has helped to demystify the chanter a little bit. I should say as well, I'll say this in the documentation, if your chanter comes in it's a bit the strong side, as I say, just gently train the reed just above the bridle, just above the copper bridle. Don't go crushing the bridle, just gently train the reed blades above the copper bridle. If it's sounding a little bit weak, then it's a matter of putting the first finger and thumb of one hand onto the tips of the reed blades, just holding them very, very gently, and with the finger and thumb of the other hand gently squeezing the bridle at the sides to open the reed a little bit. But I'll send you pictures if you're in any doubt about that. Don't break the reed. You've got to be very, very gentle. Tiny adjustments, as you probably know, make a big difference to the reed. So I'm going to be sending you documentation, and hopefully that'll help to demystify the chanter a little bit more. Okay, and in the meantime, I'm just going to play a little bit more music.